Howdy guys, Rex here. So I got one more Tim story, just to kind of crystallize the quality of character and the true good nature of a lot of these guys with this particular job. Okay, and then I'll stop after that. By the way, for those of you who have been helpful so far, I got a call the day after I let everyone know that Tim passed on. The day after, it was on Friday when he passed on, last Friday, about a week ago now. And his wife, Mrs. LaRose, gave me a call, and they were very, very, very appreciative of everything that everyone said and did, all the prayers, all the nice things, the thoughts, and for the financial support as well. So they were actually blown away. They had never experienced anything like that before. And so I'm thanking you in the Rex Defense community for your incredible spiritual generosity there. Here's a story about Tim that explains kind of the mindset and the character. So one time in Iraq, they get a lot of vehicle ambushes, and they do a lot of vehicle-to-vehicle combat during the war. It was real rough. A lot of our guys got killed. And so a lot of our guys, especially big army and stuff like that, were kind of on a hair-trigger mode because their guys were getting smoked all the time. So if a vehicle comes pulling up real fast on you, it's probably a freaking, vehicle-borne IED, and you lose 10 guys at a time. And they're really, really, really bad deal. Very traumatic. And so these guys were getting tired of all their guys getting smoked. However, something that makes some of these guys different and operate on a higher level is their ability to still remain empathetic towards the people in the country that they are working with, the people who live there, and treat them as humans. One such story goes like this, and this is a lesson. Tim was teaching me about decisive action, one way or the other. If you decide to attack, you attack. If you decide you're going to go and charge the enemy until you got every last one of them, that's what you got to do. You can't be indecisive. You have to pick something and execute it, even if after a few seconds you second guess yourself. They had to rewrite a lot of manuals because, and that's part of he was also in the Ranger bat. I forget if he was in second bat. I don't remember which one he was in. But that's something they really pound in your heads is like, what are you going to do? 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 Make a decision right now and go. Because making no decision is the decision not to make a decision. Very, very dangerous either way. And so they're buttoned up halfway in this armored vehicle and on the street there, and here comes a pickup truck barreling ass up on them from the 6, and the dudes are ready to light it up. They're gonna butter up this truck real good and smoke them because they, everyone's getting killed from IEDs. Tim, being in charge, took a quick glance, and in a quarter of a second something didn't seem right about it. He looked at it, and he could see that it was a really young kid, like a 4 or 5-year-old kid, and what appeared to be maybe his grandfather, a really old guy, driving the truck. And he understood the human terrain in that area, and he understood that in that Sunni population in that particular area being a little more secular, there ain't no grandpa going to take his grandkid on him with a suicide mission. That's not how they do that. And so it just didn't seem right to him. And so he told the guys to brace for impact, and they're like, and they got pissed. They wanted to shoot. And Tim's like, nope, hold your fire. And even though, and the truck came up, and it rammed him. Actually had a vehicle crash into him. And the soldiers that he was in charge of were pretty frustrated about him making that move. Dude, we could have died. Well, the way he explained it, he's like, because he studied and he did his due diligence, being a professional warrior, he studied the demographics, he knew the culture, and he erred on the side of life and choosing to let those people have the chance to live. If it was, and he made the very quick calculation, if it was an IED, they were buttoned up in the vehicle, so it would have been minimized damage. They could have absorbed that. And rather than lighten them up, he chose, nope. I'm pretty, and he had to make that decisive action to not shoot that time. When plenty other times, he's got plenty of other stories where it goes the other way. If you do get ambushed, you go and make sure you find everybody and take care of them. But I thought that was a really cool example of having not only the warrior mentality, but also the scholar mentality to study your AO and know your human terrain, and also be a gentleman. Pretty darn cool. As a force multiplying outfit, which that's what their job is, the Special Forces, U.S. Army Special Forces. I mean, that shows a true quality of character right there, that they're willing to get rammed by a possible bomb, just in case just in case that they might have been innocent. And in that case, it turned out the old guy, they surrounded the car, and all the guys dismounted. They got out. Nobody was really hurt. And they got out of the car, and they stuck, the M4 in their face and started interrogating them. And the little kid starts jabbering away about, like, hey, Grandpa's blind. He can't see too good. He only has one eye. He has no depth perception. Plus, in Asia, they drive kind of stupid. They do. Like, if you've ever been there, they drive like a pissed off teenager all the time. And so Tim knew this, and he saved Grandpa and a grandson when he didn't have to. He risked his own ass to do it. And some of the other guys weren't happy about that. I'd rather myself, from a selfish perspective, that 1,000 of them die for every one of ours. That's just the way I personally feel about it. But he was higher above that in his thinking. And I thought that was a perfect match. That was one of the things that really, really sold me on the guy when we started really visiting, was that story right there. I'm like, wow, that's pretty ballsy. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of maturity, but it's also very good judgment. He made a quick split-second decision and stuck to it, no matter what everyone else thought. They were mad later, but they got over it, and I'm sure that they were glad to find out that, they saved those lives. So that's a story that I wanted to share that I think encapsulates the spirit of a lot of these guys. Now, if they got to get mean, they get mean. I mean, it's just like the John Wayne movie. Well, it was a little kind of cheesy movie, but you get the idea. So there is still honor in the world, and some of the warriors out there, particularly a lot of those guys, do a really good job. And so that's like my final salute publicly for our brother Tim. And again, I'll put the link again one more time. It's very, very helpful. We're like a fifth of our way to the goal that I set for Mrs. LaRose. She has full access to everything. Everything goes to her. None of it's going through anybody else. So Melissa will be getting all the money. And it's very helpful. I ain't going to say more than that, but it's helpful. You'd be surprised. The system is still broke and doesn't work like it should. So thank you guys very much for your support for Mrs. LaRose.